Check, check, check. Testing, check. Seeing how's the framing. Can you hear that annoying sound of the sail that's going on over there with the wind? I hope not, because this is where I want to film. So let's check it out, see how it is. Sri Lanka, is it worth a visit? Is it a good place to travel? Where exactly is it? What's it like there? Is there anything to do? If you're planning a trip to Sri Lanka or wondering what it's like to travel there, then this video is for you. We're going to talk about visiting Sri Lanka, the pros and cons, tourist activities, the culture, the food, general travel advice, so you can make an informed decision. Here are a few highlights. Beautiful scenery, nature, beaches, cool vintage trains, a staggering number of Buddhas and temples, great hiking, and more kinds of tea than you ever thought possible. Of course, like everywhere, Sri Lanka has some downsides as well. Among other things, crazy traffic, a nationwide shortage of sidewalks, stray dogs, the occasional monsoon, and periodic outbreaks of tropical diseases like dengue fever. Hey, what can you do? No place is perfect. Ruled at various times by the Portuguese, the Dutch, and then finally the British, until they gained their independence in 1948. They officially changed their name to Sri Lanka in 1972 after being known as Ceylon for over 100 years. So you're probably thinking, where the heck is it and how do you get there? Sri Lanka is an island nation off the southern coast of India, roughly the size of West Virginia or Lithuania. Chances are, unless you're taking the ferry from India, which sounds rough, so much respect if you are, you'll be flying into the international airport near Colombo, Sri Lanka's biggest city. If you live in the US or Canada, basically anywhere in the Americas, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Sri Lanka is a pain in the butt to get to. 22 hours minimum from Los Angeles. Minimum, according to Google Flights. It's a little better coming from Europe, 10 hours from Frankfurt, still a long haul, but if you're already in, say, Thailand, then it's only a 3.5-hour flight. Not that bad. And one thing I want to mention, before you start your trip, check and see if you need a visa. With a US passport, we needed an electronic travel authorization, an ETA. It was free, but you had to do it online in advance. I did mine about a month before the trip, just in case there were any issues. Thankfully, there were not, and the ETA was approved the following day. I suggest changing some money before you leave the airport. They have ATMs, and there are several currency exchange places as well. Just check the exchange rates to make sure they're not gouging. I didn't see any egregious scams going on, but it's always best to check. Last thing on your airport to-do list, get a SIM card if you need one. Dialog and Mobitel are both popular choices, and they have kiosks there. I used Airlo eSIM, not a sponsor, just happened to be the one I used. It worked well in the cities, but it was a little hit or miss in the more remote areas. I used the All Asia eSIM that they offer. Maybe if you got the one Sri Lanka only, you'd get better coverage. Now, finally, time to get out of the airport and start traveling. To get to your hotel, my advice is try to arrange an airport pickup because the airport is quite a ways out of the city center, 20 miles or 32 kilometers, and traffic can be a nightmare. Plus, you've probably just been on a long flight to get there, so I think you'll be happy to have someone holding a sign with your name on it when you exit the arrivals hall. And judging from the dozens of drivers holding signs waiting for people, I think a lot of people do it this way. Now, a few fun facts about Colombo. You'll see special bakery tuk-tuks called chun pan, especially in the mornings, and they play Beethoven's Fior Elise over the loudspeakers. Also, Colombo is no longer Sri Lanka's only capital. Since 1982, the capital duties have been split between Colombo and the impossible to pronounce city of Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte. Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte. That's probably nothing close to how it's supposed to sound. Abbreviated as, people call it SJK for short. What a mouthful. And science fiction writer and author of 2001, A Space Odyssey, Sir Arthur C. Clarke, is buried in a cemetery in Colombo. He moved to Sri Lanka because he loved to scuba dive and lived there over 50 years. Most people don't spend a lot of time in Colombo. Nothing wrong with it, it's just that other cities have a lot more to offer for tourists. But because of the airport, you'll almost certainly spend some time in Colombo. So here are a few of the highlights. First up is Jami Ul-Alfar Mosque, also known as the Red Mosque because of its unique red and white striped architecture. You can usually walk around and have a look inside when no prayers are going on. Of course, you'll have to take off your shoes and adhere to the dress code. Speaking of taking off your shoes, don't forget the stone floors and walkways can get super hot. A lot of people forget this and burn their feet. I suggest carry an extra pair of temple socks with you and keep them in a Ziploc in case you step in something gross. The streets surrounding the Red Mosque are also some of the best places to shop. This is where the locals go. It's busy, chaotic, and packed with everything from electronics to clothing to souvenirs. If you're looking for deals, you'll generally find much better prices here than in the more touristy areas. And don't be afraid to haggle over the price. It's the normal way of doing business here, totally common and expected. Next is the Gangaramaya temple complex. I'm not even sure if that's right. Gangaramaya temple complex. It's famous for its enormous collection of Buddha statues, but that's only part of it. They also have antiques, taxidermy, vintage furniture, and even electronics and old watches. If you need a break from the craziness, your entrance ticket also includes Sima Malacca, the temple's peaceful meditation center down the road on Biera Lake. It's less hectic with a more reasonable concentration of Buddhas. Another popular stop, the Old Dutch Hospital area, not to be confused with the Old Dutch Hospital in Galle. We'll cover that in a different video. There are some nice stores and restaurants here, and a good selection of souvenirs, although not the cheapest. For bargains, you're still better off shopping at Peta Market, the area around the Red Mosque we talked about. Moving on, a lot of people recommend visiting Galle Face Green, which is the half-kilometer long oceanfront promenade along the Indian Ocean. Personally, I didn't care for it. Maybe I was there the wrong time of day, or maybe it's better on weekends, I don't know. There's a little strip of sand and some people fly kites there. That was cool to see. I had also heard it's a good place to try street food, but when I was there, the food carts only had fried, unidentifiable mystery items of an unknown vintage. The stuff could have been fried an hour ago, this morning, last week, who knows? I had to pass. I didn't want to chance it. I mean, if you're looking for a place to relax by the ocean or catch the sunset, I guess I can see the appeal. It just wasn't a highlight of Colombo for me. Final place I want to mention is the Lotus Tower, famous for being the tallest self-supported structure in South Asia. So take that, Taipei 101. Ha! Just kidding. I wouldn't recommend spending the money to go to the top, but it's impressive to see, especially at night. It's a little fun activity going on in the marina today. Little bonus during filming. All right, where to stay? One hotel I stayed in myself and can recommend is the Granbell. It's reasonably priced, the rooms are good, even fancy, I might say, and our room had a nice view looking out over the ocean. There's a train route that passes right along the ocean in front of the hotel, and it's kind of cool to see the trains go by a couple times a day. There aren't a lot of tourist activities within walking distance of the hotel. That's one downside. But Uber works here, and there's another app a lot of people use called Pick Me. Ubers are super cheap, and along with the usual choices on the app, you're also given the option to call a tuk-tuk or even a motorbike if you're on a super tight budget. So a good restaurant I recommend is called the Gallery Cafe. It's located in the former offices of a famous Sri Lankan architect, Geoffrey Bawa. It's very relaxing and peaceful inside, with a lot of fancy artwork and a koi pond. A lot of the desserts are displayed on what I thought was just a stylish table, but it turns out this is called the dessert desk, and it's actually the desk used by Bawa when this was his office. Another much more casual restaurant I'd recommend is called the Old Fort Cafe. It's on the second floor near the Colombo Fort railway station. The food is decent. They serve both Western and Sri Lankan dishes, and it's a nice place to sit and relax after a hectic day of sightseeing and shopping. Now, when it comes to cocktail bars and nightlife, keep in mind you're in Colombo, not Bangkok. There are a handful of places. It is Sri Lanka's co-capital, after all, but staying out late, bar hopping until the wee hours, it's not really a thing here. There's a little strip of places at the Old Dutch Hospital, quite touristy but in a convenient location. People like the Tap House and the Dutch Pub, just to name a few. Another place you might want to try if you happen to be in the area and aren't on a tight budget, the Cheers Pub at the Cinnamon Grand Hotel. Nice, but definitely on the pricey side. However, in my opinion, the best cocktail bar I found in Colombo, and actually in all of Sri Lanka, is called Uncle's. It's near Gangaramaya Temple. Am I getting any better at saying that? Gangaramaya Temple. It's near Gangaramaya Temple, down a little alley of repurposed warehouses called Park Street Mews. Uncle's was the one place where I feel like they understand craft cocktails. They're actively trying to create innovative drinks from Sri Lankan flavors and local ingredients. A few other places I went to said they're making Sri Lankan inspired drinks, but this usually just meant they're adding a tropical ingredient to a standard tourist staple, like mango margarita or pineapple daiquiri. But Uncle's is a whole nother level, and if you like craft cocktails, I suggest you pay them a visit. We wrapped up our time in Colombo and headed out for an early morning adventure to board our train to Habarana, our base for 2 days while we explored the stone fortresses of Sigiriya and Pidirangala. I'm probably not pronouncing those right either, sorry. We'll talk about that experience in Sri Lanka episode 2, which I'll put a link to as soon as it's ready. As always, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. You're a rock star. Like and subscribe. Cheers. See you next time. You'll see special bakery tuk-tuks called Fiorellis. Oh my God. No, you won't. Stone fortresses of Sigiriya and Pidirangala. Sigiriya and Pidirangala. Testing things like the mic. I don't know. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, I'm testing the mic. Siri Jayawardhanipura Kote. That's probably nothing close to how it's supposed to sound. It's the Gangaramaya temple complex. Ganga is the Gangaramaya temple complex. Gangaramaya. Like and subscribe if you don't mind.